My algebra teacher abandoned 26 students for an entire semester. When she came back from maternity leave and saw what happened, she collapsed. Pick a student, pern any student, the vice principal said coldly, his face red with anger. Ask them to solve a single equation from the last 3 months. Mrs. Collins, our substitute teacher, looked around the chaotic classroom. Papers flew through the air, music blasted from phones, half the students were missing. The other half hadn't touched a math book in weeks. I can't, she whispered for 87 days. I watched as this woman collected a full teaching salary while only teaching 4 hand-picked students in our class of 30. The rest of us, we were furniture to her. It started subtly. Mrs. Collins took over when our real teacher, Miss Martinez, left for maternity leave in September. Each day, she'd hand out worksheets, then immediately huddle with the same 4 students at the front, parents spending the entire period teaching just them, while ignoring every raised hand from the rest of us. By October, most of us had stopped trying. Why bother when your questions were met with annoyed glares and figure it out yourself? By November, our classroom had descended into complete anarchy. Keva walked in and out at will. Card games formed in the back. One guy even ordered pizza delivery without getting caught. The most insane part, not a single adult checked on us. We shared walls with other classrooms, yet somehow 30 unsupervised teenagers. Raising hell for an hour daily went completely unnoticed until the day Mr. Delaney, our vice principal, pushed open our door during a routine walk. Through his face went from neutral to shock to fury in about 3 seconds. Every infect to your ass is seen at S, he thundered, then turning to Mrs. Collins. Pack your things, you're done here. 2 weeks later, Miss Martinez returned early from maternity leave. Her face as she flipped through her empty workbooks and realized we'd learned absolutely nothing for 3 months is something I'll never forget. Can anyone solve this? She asked quietly, writing the simplest equation from our September lessons on the board. 30 blank stares. Burst silence. I walked past our classroom during lunch that day and saw Miss Martinez alone, sobbing uncontrollably at her desk. 3 months of careful planning and foundation building teared completely destroyed by someone who couldn't be bothered to teach more than 4 students. Mrs. Collins was permanently removed from the district's substitute list, but that couldn't give us back what we'd lost, painter, or erase the image of watching a dedicated teacher break down when faced with the impossible task of rebuilding what should never have been destroyed.